What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back for another Game of Thrones update video. Today I have some very exciting news for all of us Game of Thrones and A Song of Ice and Fire junkies. I have a few different things to talk about actually, and all of them have been confirmed. Now that Season 7 is just a day away, HBO and other news outlets have opened up the floodgates and revealed all kinds of things that are going to happen this season and beyond. A few days ago, HBO held their premiere for Episode 1 in Los Angeles, California. And although there was a ton of security at this event, the press were still there for the screening and to report on everything that was taking place. They obviously aren't allowed to give away specific plot points from the episode, but they were able to release some other details that were just as important and interesting. A reporter from GQ magazine was at this premiere, and he has confirmed several exciting details about Game of Thrones. I'm going to put the link to the full article down in the description in case you want to read it for yourself. But make sure you stay until the end of this video because I'm going to save the biggest news for last. Obviously, since there's going to be tons of information about what happened at the premiere, there are going to be some spoilers in this video about the first episode. So make sure you proceed with caution if you do not want to be spoiled. The first thing that can be confirmed is the return of our old friend and our favorite blacksmith, Gendry, the bastard son of Robert Baratheon. We have all been wondering for years if we would ever see Gendry again, after Davos set him free from Dragonstone's cells and pushed him off in a small boat. Also, we have all been speculating this off-season that Gendry would make his return in Season 7. After the trailer was released for this season, it appeared that Gendry was back and up north of the Wall with Jon Snow and several other cast members. As you can see in the trailer, there is a group of 12 men standing in a circle in a defensive position, and one of those men appeared to be holding a warhammer, which is what Robert Baratheon was famously known for using in battle and killing Rhaegar Targaryen with. Melisandre revealed to Gendry that his father was King Robert Baratheon, so I wouldn't be surprised if Gendry decided to use a warhammer himself, especially if he knew he was going to be going into battle as well. Gendry is also a blacksmith, and he has swung a hammer for years, so it makes sense for him to use a hammer as a weapon also. I guess you could say it runs in his blood. But Gendry showed up on the red carpet during their premiere for Game of Thrones Season 7, and one of the reporters from GQ magazine who was also at this premiere confirmed that Gendry would be in this season, but he said he won't make his return until mid-season. I am very excited for Gendry's return. Let's just hope he stays alive long enough to reunite with Arya at least one last time. The reporter also said that we're used to getting new players entering the great game every season, but Game of Thrones is now coming close to its endgame, and this enormous cast is finally dwindling down now that we are in the third act. So we're not going to see too many new faces this season playing in any kind of significant role, except for Jim Broadbent, who's going to be an unorthodox Archmaester coaching Samwell Tarly at the Citadel, and we're going to see them together in the very first episode. I think this is some pretty exciting news too. I think most of us did assume that this was going to happen, but now it's actually confirmed. The Archmaester Marwyn will have Samwell Tarly under his wing, coaching him, showing him his methods. Samwell Tarly might not actually be at the Citadel for a very long time, but I think it's safe to say he's going to be uncovering some secrets and making some breakthrough discoveries, making him one of the most important characters left. Now I gotta give a shout out to Nex from the channel Game of Theories for this next story, which came from an article written by The Telegraph. And like I said earlier, the reporters who were at the premiere aren't able to give away too much information about Episode 1, but they did reveal something pretty damn big, without dropping any names. They said Episode 1 is going to begin with a cold open, and for those of you that aren't familiar with what that means, a cold open is when the episode begins without showing any of the intro credits, just like when the Hound made his return. The episode began immediately without showing the credits. That way you didn't see the actor's name beforehand, which would have gave away that he was back. And they're going to do the same thing this season in the first episode, and I think that's because Walder Frey's coming back, although he is dead. David Bradley was recasted for this season, and it has to be because Arya is going to be wearing his face. Listen to what this reporter said about the cold opening in Episode 1. He said the episode opens with a cold open that got a huge audience reaction. It involved a notorious plotter addressing his followers. Then a shift in tone and a swift massacre, without any actual violence, and a dramatic unveiling, which prompted wild applause and gleeful cheers. Walder Frey is definitely a notorious plotter, and it said that there was a swift massacre but there was no violence. That sounds like they were poisoned. Arya definitely knows a thing or two about poison from her time spent at the House of Black and White. And then it says a dramatic unveiling, which means Arya is going to take off Walder Frey's face, and that's why the crowd reacted like the way they did. This is going to be pretty damn insane for an opening scene. The episode is going to start with Arya wearing Walder Frey's face and massacring everyone there. All I can really say is wow. But you know what's interesting about this? This was actually leaked all the way back in November. Having killed Walder Frey, Arya uses his face to summon the rest of the Freys to a shindig. After she sends all the women out of the room, Arya proposes a toast, and she poisons all of them in one go. Now that sounds exactly like what that article just said happened when they screened the premiere. I think we can expect to see this happen too. But let's get to the most exciting news of all, which was also revealed during the premiere of Game of Thrones Season 7, Episode 1. And I'm sure most of you by now know that HBO has been in the process of trying to come up with a new spin-off show based within the world of A Song of Ice and Fire, after Game of Thrones is over. Game of Thrones is one of the most popular and successful shows in the history of television, and everyone at HBO wants to keep this train moving full steam ahead. Since George R.R. Martin created such a huge universe, there is a number of directions they could go with a new show after Game of Thrones ends. And about a month ago, George R.R. Martin himself released a statement about the status of the spin-off shows that were currently in development. George said HBO hired 5 new writers who were all going to create their own story based off of George's story. Then they're going to turn these 5 scripts into pilots and hope and pray one of them got picked up and turned into HBO's next smash hit. But if you know anything about how television works, things don't always go as planned. Just because you hire all these writers to make pilots doesn't necessarily mean any of them are going to get turned into TV shows. But we have some great news today. This is amazing news actually. HBO has confirmed at least one spin-off show is coming after Season 8 ends next year. This is absolutely incredible news. For all of us that didn't want this to end, we are definitely going to get more of George's story to experience on television. HBO confirmed that we are getting one new show after Season 8 ends next year. But they also said we might get more than one, but one for sure. Comment down below and tell me what show you think we're going to get next, and which show do you want to see next. I'll be honest with you, at this point, I don't care which one we get. As long as it is based off George's work, I'm going to be happy with it. George also said that he's going to be working with all of these writers, so hopefully George can keep them all on track when he has the time to do so. He said one of those writers knows his story just as good as he does, so that's very promising. Hopefully as soon as Season 8 ends, this new show starts right up afterwards, which is what it sounds like HBO wants to do. So let me know what you think about all of this down below, and I'll see you in the comment section. Bye.